Hey, welcome to Sundaish English, where you don't just learn English, you live it. Ready to sound natural, think in English, and speak with confidence? Let's get started. Paper is not just another type of waste. It's different because it comes from something renewable, trees. Unlike plastics and metals, which depend on limited resources like oil and minerals, trees can grow back. And that changes everything. Paper also breaks down naturally, returning to the earth, making it far less harmful when we throw it away. In Australia, nearly half, about 45%, of the wood fiber used in paper production comes from recycled sources. The rest still comes from fresh timber, taken from forests and plantations. But compared to the global average of just 33% recycled content, that's actually strong progress. Governments have pushed recycling programs forward, and the paper industry has responded by developing smarter, more efficient technologies. The result? Recycled fibers are expected to grow faster than new raw materials in the years ahead. Today, around 70% of packaging paper already comes from recycled material. And thanks to advances in de-inking technology, even newspapers and writing paper can now contain more recycled content. But here's the truth. Recycling doesn't work without people. It requires participation. It requires acceptance. Sometimes recycled paper isn't perfectly white. Sometimes it feels a little rougher, and that's okay, because sustainability often comes with small compromises. Communities must also support collection systems by separating waste properly and removing contaminants like staples, clips, and other unwanted materials. Still, there are limits. Not all paper can be recycled. Books, archival documents, photographic paper, or heavily contaminated materials simply cannot be reused. Most recyclable paper comes from places that produce it in large volumes: factories, retail stores, offices, printers, and households. And yes, manufacturers even pay for this waste, sometimes covering the cost of collection. Once collected, the process becomes more complex. Paper must be sorted by hand, by trained workers who understand different paper types. Because not all fibers are the same, and not all can be used for every product. Then, the paper is mixed with water, broken down into fibers, in a process called repulping. What you get is a thick mixture called pulp, or stock. But this mixture isn't clean. It often contains impurities, especially if sorting was incomplete. So machines are used to remove those unwanted materials. Now here's something interesting. Fibers from printed paper often turn gray because ink seeps deep into them. That's why they're used for products like cardboard, where color doesn't matter. But if a cleaner, whiter result is needed, the fibers must go through de-inking. Chemicals are added, detergents, alkalis, bleaching agents, all working together to lift the ink away. And before new paper is formed, the fibers are treated so they can bond together properly. Even with all this, paper cannot be recycled forever. Over time, the fibers weaken, they lose strength. This leads to something called downcycling, where each new product is slightly lower in quality than the original. Recycling still saves energy, labor, and valuable resources, but it's not perfect. It still relies on fossil fuels for transportation and processing, and it still produces emissions that must be carefully managed. And yet, despite all its limits, paper recycling remains essential. It is both an economic and environmental necessity, but only when it is done wisely, efficiently, and responsibly, for the benefit of both industry and the world we live in. I've prepared 15 comprehension questions for you, designed to test your understanding, sharpen your listening, and help you think deeper in English. So listen carefully, answer thoughtfully, and challenge yourself. Drop your answers in the comments. If this helped you, don't just watch. Join the hub. Subscribe, stay consistent, and take your English to the next level. Sundaish English Hub, where language meets knowledge. Disclaimer. This content is created solely for educational purposes. Yes, purely for learning. Specifically, to help English learners improve their listening, reading comprehension, vocabulary, and critical thinking skills. So as you listen, don't just hear the words. Feel them, understand them, live them. Learners are encouraged to use this material as real English practice, focusing on developing natural language ability and understanding academic-style texts. Because here, we don't just study English, we experience it. Learn English with Sundaish aims to combine language learning with global knowledge to create something meaningful, something powerful, something engaging. For English learners all around the world, let's grow, let's think, and let's elevate our English together.